You know, for a while I thought that low energy was just a part of life after the 60s. You know, not terrible, just not fantastic or great. You know, getting along. We have aches and pains and all those things. You know, but over time, a few simple changes that I've managed to make in over a short period of time. And I'm kind of on a journey, and I want you to join me on that journey. But those things have really made a difference in my life. Noticeable differences. Nothing extreme, nothing complicated. So today as I walk, I want to talk about my energy, how my energy is better after 60, and what actually changed for me. Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm out for my walk today, and I want to talk to you about something that affects almost everything else in life after 60, and that's energy. Energy! Get it! So I'm out on my walk today and talking about energy. So I'm not a doctor, and this isn't advice. This is just my channel, and I hope you join, hope you comment. I want to hear your comments. And you know, let's talk about, I'm just trying to share what I've noticed and what's working for me as far as my energy is concerned. So, you know, that's what we're going to be talking about over the next 15 minutes, so stick with me. You know, one of the things that when you're trying to regain your energy, you kind of expect like one thing to really improve your life. And it's really, you gotta have them all. You know, you gotta have, it's not just sleep, just not exercise, not just food. It's a combination, you know, supplements. It's a combination. Walking became my foundation. It's what I enjoy. That's what this channel is all about, is me walking and talking and sharing the things that I've done to really improve my life after 60. You know, I say that, you know, I really didn't do a whole lot as I was growing up in my 20s and 30s as far as working out was concerned. You know, in my teens. And obviously in my younger years, I was fit as a fiddle. Best I ever been. But in my 20s and 30s, after I got out of the Army, in my 20s and started going to college and had to work and go to college, man, I started noticing putting on weight and stuff. And so my 20s and 30s weren't my most active years. I started actually being more active in my 40s, some, but in my 50s I really started taking a little bit more notice. I had friends that I worked at the television station. We did one of those Tough Mudders, and I was horrible at it, but I did it. Never do it again. The leaf blower is the bane of all vloggerdom. He's over there. I don't know if you can see him. I love it. I love it. So, yeah, walking became my foundation. Daily movement. You know, I literally try to get out of the house just about every day and go on a walk and get my at least 10 minutes of, you know, vitamin D. Today in Las Vegas, It is actually 70, or it's right now at 64. It's cloudless. I mean, look behind me, look in front of me. Look at the mountains in front of me. Look at the mountains. Clear skies. Clear skies, beautiful. We got the park over there. Got the leaf blower behind me, agitating the crap out of me. I'm surprised my dog friends haven't barked at me yet. Sometimes I worry about my dog friends. So anyway, let's continue talking about energy. NRG. Yeah, walking became my foundation. Clears my head. You know, I got a much clearer head going throughout my day, because, you know, one of the things that it's kind of important for walking is setting your circadian, you know, timing. And so that, you know, you get out, right now it's 9 o'clock, 64, going to be a high. This is a record high for Vegas of 74 degrees in January. What? Does that predict an extremely hot summer for Las Vegas? Yay or nay? Yay or nay? Yay or nay? I sure hope it's a mild summer. Lots of rain, lots of clouds. Across the street. You know what's so funny is, look, I have the crosswalk here at the park, and I just came from over there, but I didn't want to wait for the light. But what's funny is, what's the difference between me coming down just maybe a foot and crossing right here, or getting a jaywalking ticket for crossing right here? Everybody crosses the street over here. So anyway, just food for thought. So anyway, yeah, supports, walking became my foundation, and it supports everything else. You know, how restful I am. You know, my glycogen stores. Walking helps reduce that, obviously. I talked about that before, I think, last video maybe. Where if you're gonna do a fast, and I recommend fasting. Fasting is good for you, but it's kind of drudgery sometimes because you're hungry and you want to eat. But you can eat, but that's not really fasting. Fasting is like going water. You can do a food like a protein fast, but call it a protein fast. Fasting is, you know, usually water, maybe, you know, maybe some coffee black, you know, or tea. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So walking became my foundation. Now, better sleep changed everything for me. I got more consistent sleep once I started focusing in on what was the problem, and I used ChatGPT to help me, you know, help me figure it out. So that's a good thing. You know, less fighting sleep. You know, I fight sleep less now because, you know, I just put a plan in place, and ChatGPT helped me set that up, and then I follow it consistently. So last night, I swear I got about 8 or at least 7 hours sleep last night. I think uninterrupted. Maybe I did get up once. I have sinus problems. That's another thing I've got to attend in my life. I'm gonna live the next 20 years without sinus problems. I gotta go see an ENT. But yeah, I got sinus problems. So I wake up in the middle of the night because sometimes I can't breathe as well. So I go out and use saline, the saline water spray to clear out my nasal passages completely. And then go upstairs and go to bed. And it works. That works. What's funny is I've never been down the street that's near people live here. It's near my home. I don't like these 3-story homes. You pretty much got the garage downstairs. Your patio in back, and then you got your upstairs living, and then you got your further uphill sleeping. So I really don't like these that much. Oh, here's a 2-story amongst all of these 3 stories. And the footprint that it takes up is way smaller than your typical, house that's that size. So yeah, I've pretty much seen this little neighborhood. Yeah, so sleep has majorly increased my energy levels. So I started eating enough, and I know that sounds weird, but if you want to lose weight, you got to reach your protein levels. Now, usually that's anywhere from about I don't know, I'm gonna guess. Again, I'm not a doctor. You'll have to look it up, ask ChatGPT, give it your body weight or whatever. And then, then you figure out your protein levels. So protein levels are important. Like mine's 120. And I struggle getting to 120 grams of protein every day. I mean, let's look at it this way. Eat a breakfast with bacon and eggs. Even if it was bacon and eggs, you're probably looking at, let's just guess, 30 grams at the most. Then you got lunch. Let's say you do a hamburger, double meat hamburger, maybe 30 grams of protein. I'm doing it, folks. I'm going this direction up the hill. I didn't want to, but looks like the leaf blower left, so decided to. So 120 grams. So right there is 60 grams for breakfast and lunch. Then I got to get 30, at least 30 for dinner. That'd be 90. And then usually what I do is I supplement by doing, like a shake. I don't really like using the shake to get protein. If I can eat more protein, I'll do that. Those premix have a lot of things in it. I would recommend you look for proteins with 3 grams that have 3 ingredients or less as far as, protein, because it should just be protein and maybe a flavoring. I don't know. Anyway, listen, I'm going to turn around because there's things I got to do, and I'm reaching 2 miles. So let's quickly finish this up. Yeah, so I started eating enough, steadier energy, less under fueling, and I was eating more than I normally did, but I was losing weight. That's because I was eating mostly proteins and fats and almost 0 carbs. I try to eliminate 0 carbs and sugars from my diet. And again, a good way of getting rid of your glycogen so you can fast is to, go on a walk or a sprint. Look, there's somebody out. In Vegas, there's always somebody out exercising. So, yeah, so, I started eating enough. So, fair enough. I reduced stress on my body. Less pushing extremes. I don't run. I walk. I do shorter fasts, I don't try to, fast too much. And I focus a lot on recovery so I can reduce the amount of inflammation in my body. I've got supplements that I use. A few of them are magnesium, with L-theorate, creatine, protein. So what about, your mental energy, your mental. Just kidding. Things that I'm doing to try to reduce my mental energy is I'm trying to reduce my mental load, and I use ChatGPT and a lot of the new apps and things like that to help me to be a better person and less load on my brain. Tools that help me think clearly and more efficient throughout my day. I look for those things. I'm not carrying everything in my head. And I stopped chasing the perfect energy. Some days are better than others. It's just about consistency over time. Consistently sleeping better. So every night I try to use the same routine and practices that actually help me get my sleep. So, and watching how I eat, trying to eat more proteins and fat and less, your brain needs fat. I think a lot of this whole thing about Alzheimer's has a lot to do with the no-fat products. Stop eating no fat. Eat fat. It's good for your brain. Satiates your brain. Yeah, some days are better on my energy, but it's all about consistency over time. So, yeah, these are some of the things to think about as far as my energy is concerned. I definitely feel more fit. I think about things. I think about exercising. I think about walking. I think about eating right. Here's the deal. If you're over 60 and you're retired, you got all the time, all day long. Why not devote the first, few hours of the day to exercising? You ain't got anything else better to do. Put off all your chores and all your appointments to in the afternoon and use the morning to get out and exercise. Unless in your area, if it's snow right now, because it is winter in Vegas, but it's 74 and we're actually breaking a record. I think I said that. We're breaking a record. Oh, there's people actually ahead of me. You see that? Got doggies. People love to walk their doggies. My dog is so old, he's 17, he does not want to go outside. So I'm obeying his wishes. I play with him, he's still playful as a puppy. He just never has going out and walking. He just never has. Anyway, so, hi, I'm Kevin. If your energy isn't what it used to be, it doesn't mean anything is wrong. Sometimes it's just about making a few small changes and then giving them time to work. Use your intuition too. This is what's helping me right now. Take what helps, leave the rest. Thanks for walking with me today. I'll see you on the next walk. And stick with me.